As we all know, every Randy is amazing. Few artists have captured America's humor, heartbreak, and contradictions quite like Randy Newman. You might know him from Toy Story or Monsters Incorporated, but his story began long before Pixar. Over the next few minutes, we're going to look at how a sarcastic songwriter from Los Angeles became one of the most beloved voices in modern music. Before the music scores, before the movies, before the Academy Awards, before Toy Story ever hit theaters, there was a kid growing up in Los Angeles, surrounded by music, yet quietly plotting to do it his way. Randy Newman was born Randall Stewart Newman on November 28, 1943 in Los Angeles, California. He came into the world in the heart of Hollywood's golden era, where orchestras rehearsed behind studio walls and movie scores filled the air. Music wasn't just a part of his upbringing, it was the family business. Randy's uncles were musical royalty. Alfred Newman, composer of How the West Was Won. Lionel Newman, longtime music director at 20th Century Fox. And Emil Newman, respected conductor and arranger. The Newman sound was Hollywood's sound. If you went to the movies in the 1940s or 50s, chances are you were hearing their work. For most families, music was a pastime. For the Newmans, it was a dynasty. Growing up in that shadow, Randy admired his family, but he didn't want to copy them. Where his uncles wrote sweeping film themes, Randy was drawn to piano chords and human stories. As a teenager, he started writing little songs, odd, clever, full of irony and character. When he entered UCLA to study music, his professors quickly realized he had a writer's mind, not just a composer's ear. Every summer, Randy left California and headed down south, to New Orleans, the city that changed him. Its blend of jazz, blues, and gospel gave his music a new accent. He later said, "If LA gave me polish, New Orleans gave me soul." You can still hear that in his influence today. The lazy swing, the sly humor, and the deep sense of humanity running through nearly every song he's written. By the late 1950s, Randy was a songwriting god, just a legend, selling his first compositions while still a teenager. What began as a family tradition was turning into something entirely his own. Randy Newman was no longer the family legacy, he was reinventing it. And from there, his story only got bigger. Songs that spoke with honesty, humor, and from his heart. This is where songwriter Randy Newman truly begins. By the early 1960s, Randy Newman's name was already circulating through Los Angeles recording studios. He wasn't famous yet, but his songwriting was making quiet waves. He began crafting tunes for others. Celia Black, Gene Pitney, and Dusty Springfield, to name a few. Songs that hinted at the humor and sadness that would define his later work. In 1968, he released a self-titled debut album, Randy Newman. It mixed orchestral pop with lyrical irony, impressing critics but confusing radio stations that couldn't categorize it. Through the 1970s, he released 12 songs, Sail Away, and Good Old Boys, records that explored America's contradictions with both compassion and bite. He could write from the perspective of a bigot, a dreamer, or a lost lover, and somehow make them all feel real. His music balanced satire and sincerity, pain, and wit. By the end of the decade, Randy Newman had transformed from a behind-the-scenes writer into one of the most respected and distinctive storytellers in American music. When you hear a Randy Newman song, you know it within seconds. That warm piano tone, the loose shuffle rhythm, and the half-spoken, half-sung voice that sounds like it's telling you a secret. His music draws from jazz, blues, and early American songcraft, the world of Gershwin and Fats Domino. But he turned those traditions on their heads with irony and empathy. There's nostalgia in his chords, but modern honesty in his words. What truly defines him are his characters. Newman rarely writes in his own voice. Instead, he invents people, small-minded, hopeful, funny, or deeply flawed, and lets them sing their truths. That's why a song like Short People can sound offensive until you realize that it's actually about prejudice itself. Every Randy Newman lyric carries a wink and a wound. Beneath the sarcasm lies compassion, especially in songs like Marie, Louisiana in 1927, or I Think It's Gonna Rain Today. He can make you laugh in one line and break your heart in the next. That balance, humor, and humanity is what makes Randy Newman not just a songwriter, but a storyteller of the American soul. By the late 1970s, Randy Newman had already proven himself as one of America's sharpest songwriters, but soon, the rest of the world would know him for something even bigger: film music. His composing career began with Cold Turkey 1971, a quirky comedy about a town that tries to quit smoking. It wasn't a glamorous debut, but it suited Newman's sense of irony perfectly. A decade later, Ragtime revealed his emotional depth as a composer: lush, dramatic, and human, earning him his first Oscar nomination. Throughout the 80s and 90s, he scored films like The Natural Parenthood and Avalon, blending classical orchestration with the same wit that filled the songs. But everything changed in 1995 when Pixar approached him for Toy Story. With Toy Story, Newman didn't just write a score, he captured a childhood itself. You've Got a Friend in Me became a song everyone knew, whether they realized it or not. Its warmth, humor, and simplicity mirrored the friendship between Woody and Buzz, and in a way reflected Newman's own empathy for flawed characters. Despite more than 20 Oscar noms, he only won his first one in 2002 for If I Didn't Have You. When he took the stage, he grinned and said, "I don't want your pity." That line summed him up perfectly: humble, sharp, and funny all at once. Through film, Randy Newman reached millions who might never have known his early albums. His melody became part of people's memories, tied to love, childhood, and laughter. Proof that one man's voice and piano could define the sound of an entire generation. After decades of songwriting, Randy Newman became both a cult hero and a mainstream icon. His peers hailed him as one of America's brilliant storytellers, a man who could make humor and heartbreak share the same melody. He's been nominated for more than 20 Academy Awards, finally winning in 2002, obviously, and again in 2011 for We Don't Belong Together. Beyond his awards, his greatest legacy is emotion. Songs that have become woven into people's lives. From concert halls to animated films, his melodies echo through moments of friendship and nostalgia. Today, Randy Newman stands in both the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, proof that wit, honesty, and heart never go out of style. From the streets of LA to the soundstage of Pixar, Randy Newman has built a one-of-a-kind career, one that walks the line between satire and sincerity, humor and heartbreak. Songs remind us that truth doesn't always come from speeches or anthems, but from small human moments, from laughter, doubt, and compassion. Whether he's writing about friendship, politics, or love, Randy never tells us what to feel. He holds up a mirror. That's what makes him timeless. Behind every sharp lyric or playful melody lies deep empathy, a reminder that music at its best connects us to one another. Randy Newman's work doesn't just belong to the movies, it belongs to all of us. There are songwriters, then there's Randy Newman. A man so talented, it's honestly not even fair. He writes songs that make grown men cry. He manages to do it while looking like everyone's sexiest piano man. Let's be honest, that smirk, those glasses, those "I've seen things" charm. Randy Newman's proof that a musical genius is attractive. Not in a Hollywood way, I'm saying, like, I can ruin you emotionally with a piano chord type of handsome. And that man can write. Oof. When he sits at a piano, it's not music, it's storytelling, with a smirk. He doesn't just play the piano, he plays you. You think you're listening to a song about short people or talking toys? 10 minutes later, you're in an existential crisis wondering why you ever took life so seriously. That's the Newman effect. They call him a cynic, but that's just, people can't tell the difference between honesty and sarcasm. Randy Newman, that boy, he gets it. He sees people exactly as they are: messy, selfish, kind, ridiculous. And somehow, makes us love ourselves for it. It's like he's saying, yeah, this world's a disaster, but at least it's got good music. At least it's got me. And that voice, come on now, it's the sound of experience. It's the sound of a man who knows the human condition and where to find the best gumbo in New Orleans. He sings like he's been through every heartbreak imaginable and still found the punchline. It's imperfect, gravelly, charming, like a whiskey-soaked truth sermon in a musical form. You've Got a Friend in Me isn't just a song. It's an emotional support system. Louise in 1972 could bring statues to tears. And I think it's going to rain today. That song should come with a warning label for soul leakage. That man writes like he invented feelings, then decides to parry them for fun. So here's Randy Newman, the GOAT, best songwriter, philosopher, occasional bad boy. He's living proof that talent ages like fine wine, and somehow, so does he. There's that sly smile, that spark behind that piano. It's like he knows something that we don't, and he's not telling us until the bridge. Randy Newman isn't just handsome, funny, he's devastatingly musical. The kind of handsome that makes you rethink your taste in men and your definition of melody. And that'll be all. Thank you for tuning in to the amazing glaze of Randy Newman. If you like that video, follow, subscribe, hit me up in the DMs. I'm always willing to give some Randy Newman knowledge if you'd like. That'll be the end of the video. Escanor Music, done for today.